Trunks now has a new normal, 3M. I say a new normal because it's separate from his regular 2M. As you can see, 2M goes about half screen. However, if you do 3M, it goes full screen in 18 frames. This is a pretty fast and terrifying normal for constantly checking the opponent's ability to jump. In my own experimentation, I haven't been able to find utility for this in combos though, as because you're blowing the opponent back, Trunks actually sort of stops where the opponent's position was when he pressed this 3M. You can take advantage of this property by backing up against the character at full screen to make this normal whiff. You have to backdash though. Walking back means that this normal can still hit you. In the previous patch, they buffed the range of Trunks 5H, meaning that he could throw it out potentially more neutral and try and catch hits at mid-range. Now that range buff to 5H has been removed. I think this has to do with some of the combo routing or pressure sequences that Trunks had before that got changed because of the range increase. But now if you hold forward while you press heavy, you're able to get the version with more range. So I think this has something to do with just quality of life stuff. Giving more range on 5H could have potentially messed with Trunks' routes that were stable before because of the range increase. And so they had to give him the old version back while allowing him to keep the new version of 5H. A character like Goku Blue saw similar changes when they made adjustments to his 2M that caused accidental side swap off of the usual confirms. 5S had its startup reduced. Before, it was a 19-frame full-screen key blast that beat others. Pretty quick. Now, the startup of his 5S is ludicrous at 15 frames at full screen. While no doubt this allows some new combo routes and links for him overall, it also means that his neutral is probably one of the best in the game. This is a key blast that is able to armor through other key blasts and hit the opposing character for free. If you hold forward during your 2H, you now get increased forward momentum. This is the old version, and this is the new version. The reason for this is so that Trunks is going to be able to combo into his JS off of the system mechanic changes. If they didn't do this buff, this is what would happen for Trunks. But with the buff, he's able to take advantage of the system mechanic changes in his combo. I can expect that a lot of these changes to these air normals were part of this JS system mechanic change overall, but a consequence of that also means that these characters are going to be able to throw out these huge moves that act as great starters from further ranges in neutral, further making neutral a lot more flaily in Dragon Ball FighterZ. But we'll see how it affects the overall gameplay. The ground version of Shining Slash is now faster. Before, it was about 25 frames startup. Now, it's 23 frames startup. Aside from making it a faster overhead than 6M, this also potentially means that Trunks will be able to link this move at points and combos that he couldn't before. Be on the lookout for such links. The next change, I think, requires some speculation. They said they differentiated the mid-air restrictions across the light, medium, and heavy versions of Cyclone Jump. What I think this means is that if they didn't do this, with the new sparking changes, Trunks could have just looped between multiple versions of the same technique within a single jump. Now he has to go into a jump in order to reset the number of times he can use these moves within his air combos. That's what I have so far. Let me know if you actually have a better explanation than that in the comments below. Change of the Future had several buffs to its hit stop between its cinematic hit and its non-cinematic hit. Before, if you wanted to confirm this, you basically had to assume it was going to because you had such little time to react. Furthermore, you would usually have to spend meter in order to get it confirmed. As you can see, with a non-cinematic hit, the opponent is blown very far away, so you basically had no real opportunity to pick this up. It was an unreactable confirm. With the new hit stop, as well as buffs to Trunks' 5S and the rest of his kit across several patches, you now have meterless mid-screen confirms from Change of the Future off of both hits. The This combos nicely with the forward heavy change as well, as you can see there. Trunks now actually has reliable ways of hit confirming Change the Future, meaning that it is an incredibly great neutral tool for him to use to approach with as an anti-zoning technique. This is honestly some insane buffs for the character to receive. The light and medium version of Heat Dome Attack, Trunks' level 3, has a couple of buffs to it. This is what it looked like before. It was a frame 12 startup with a long cinematic that the opponent could jump after seeing. You'll note how late I was able to press up to avoid that. This is the new version. It's a 10 frame startup grab with a blink and you'll miss it super flash animation now. There's actually potential for you to use this as a mix-up option for Trunks to use as a command throw. As you can see, you can still jump out of this. However, if you're even a little bit late, you're getting grabbed and taking a raw level 3. The startup on Trunks' A assist has been reduced. Before, it would hit at frame 25. Now it hits at frame 20. It does lack all the other buffs that the point version of Change the Future have, so you're not going to get as free confirms off of this one. But this move being 2 frames faster does make it a little more appealing, especially since it has to compete against his B assist, Masenko. His C assist also received a similar change. Before, it was 35 frame startup. This is the new startup. 10 frames faster, so it's a 25 frame full screen lariat. Maybe you'll see people experiment with this assist a bit, but I still think people are largely going to be relying on his B assist for the Masenko Ha beam that he's able to give characters. It deserves to be highlighted as well that Trunks is one of the characters who benefits the most from the changes to sparking in this patch, especially when it comes to his mix-ups during the mechanic. He already had great mix-ups when he was in sparking before, but now they've completely gone overboard, and you're just simply not blocking this character, I think. Not in the hands of a professional. Just to give you some ideas. Trunks has been receiving a steady stream of buffs for the past several patches. However, due to the manual inputs that are required to manipulate his EX flips, he's mainly been played by the hands of only a few players who are willing to invest that much time into controlling this aspect of the character to unlock his full potential. But now he has a bunch of simple, easy-to-use tools from full screen that are going to be able to make sure that his neutral is far more rewarding than it was before, and that combined with a lot of the system mechanic changes, I think skyrockets Trunks into a lot of people's potential choice for the iconic comeback character in this game when sparking is available. However, we do have to keep in mind that that's with sparking available in terms of all the crazy mix-up he has access to. But he has other tools as well. The fact that you can effectively threaten a command throw mix-up off of an empty Change the Future into a Heat Dome attack is another monumental buff to the character to make the opponent start to guess between what you're actually going to do. I think this is the patch where Trunks is the most self-reliant that he's ever been, and he might also be one of the most rewarding characters to venture out with in this version of the game. We'll see if anyone wants to pick him up, though. As it is, Dragon Ball is still a very old game with a lot of people having jumped ship over the years of changes to it. But I would love to see some new talent come in or some old talent return to experiment with Trunks once again, because I think he might be one of the coolest characters to spectate in this version of the game.